All right, guys, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose qualifiers for the European region. We've already seen Vortex defeat Saxory 2-0, and now it's time to have a TCM team kill.
That's right. First versus YoDa, a matchup that we've seen a lot throughout this year, of course, in multiple different tournaments, a lot in the WCS Premier League as well. And we're going to see it again here in the qualifier. For the player that wins this will go up against Vortex here in the winner bracket finals for that first ticket to the Season 9 third stop of the Intel Extreme Masters from San Jose. So looking forward to this game, looking forward to the next couple of games in a row. This is going to be a good one, though. Yeah,
yes, definitely. I mean, YoDa, we have seen this matchup quite a lot in the past, and YoDa's always seemed to come out on top in round of 32 groups that they've been in for WCS, etc. So do you think that First has a shot here, or is YoDa actually just in monster mode right now?
Yeah, he definitely has a shot, but you have to favor YoDa. YoDa, for sure, is a player that got beaten up a lot by the other people that he lived with, MC and First, for a lot at the start of the year, but he changed that around a lot come the second half of the year, and that's actually beating them and beating a lot of other Protoss players. He's very good at this matchup right now. Very solid. He's greedy at the right times. He knows all the defensive measures he needs to take against players like, First and MC who have all these tricks. So he's well trained against these type of aggressive strategies that could hit him to hurt his economy. And then he's very good at army control. Very good at SCV pulls if he needs to be. Gets that Viking count nice and high. Adds Ghost at the right time. He doesn't really look weak at all in this matchup. But First knows how YoDa's playing recently. Maybe can show us something here to topple from what I think is going to be a YoDa victory.
Yeah, I think maybe something a little bit tricky from First would be nice. That being said, though, whenever I watch First play or in WCS Europe, it's always felt to me that his strengths have been in the longer game. I mean, we can remember First's roots where he was playing back in GSLs and he was having a lot of success against Terrans in previous meta games, of course, but it was all on kind of longer, stronger games, really, really solid games. But nowadays, Terrans have just kind of figured this out, so maybe something tricky could work.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out here. Of course, both of these players were invited to this stage of the tournament, stage 2. Didn't have to play in day 1 yesterday through their performances throughout WCS and, of course, other tournaments. First has beaten Mana and MMA. Of course, MMA they're playing from Korea, so kind of a little bit expected there for First to go through. Whereas YoDa has been through 2 Protoss players already in Grubby and Welmu, and now it's time to take on his teammate from TCM. Yeah, I definitely have to favor YoDa. YoDa is, a former world champion of the Intel Extreme Masters. It's his time to go back to an Intel Extreme Masters and actually do very, very well. He's done well at other events too. This one is he's going to this tournament, no doubt. This is his. He's going.
Yeah, he's been looking good recently. I mean, we only need to look at the second place that he got during the previous WCS season to MMA, which that series actually started out in a fireball, and then YoDa even found a little room to recover during it, but sadly missed out to MMA. But at the same time, when you look back in this tournament at this qualifier, the match that he had against Welmu, he had a little bit of trouble. Welmu kind of poked and prodded him a little bit with some earlier game builds. So there was a little bit of trouble there, but he was able to overcome it in the end.
Yeah, YoDa's very solid. So as much as you think that First may try some tricks here, I think YoDa's going to be actually kind of ready for all of it. So if First is going to be able to beat YoDa, he has to play a very good game, rely on what, he has to play the longer game, rely on that kind of strength.
Okay, so King Sejong Station is actually going to be our first map, which, to be fair, if we were going to see any tricks, I would expect them kind of on this map from First. But YoDa, likewise, he can just kind of buckle down, hold strong. And I think, I can't remember who was talking about it recently on talk shows, but people were basically saying, or some players were basically saying that Terrans have just gotten so used to everything that Protoss has been able to throw at them. The blink kind of all-ins are not as strong as they used to be, those kinds of things. So Protoss players trying to play out a longer game against a Terran that's just well fortified and well-versed in the later game, it's going to be difficult to break.
And, Terran players are that comfortable where they're opening up greedy than where there used to be a lot of Reaper. Well, obviously, Reaper Expanse, the most common opener, but we're not even seeing that as much. We've seen a lot more Command Center First, and One Barracks Command Center is coming to play because they're not as worried as they used to be. So YoDa comes into this with an edge for sure.
All right, then. Let's get into it. Game number 1 of our second winners bracket semi-final, as we have our blue Terran down in the bottom right-hand corner representing TCM. It is YoDa. And up to the top left-hand corner, also representing TCM, it's our red Protoss. It's first.
So this map, you kind of cannot open up too greedy for YoDa. He's going to have to open up with the Reaper or one Barracks command center here. Anything greedier than that's going to probably get him killed, as the ramp's weak on this map for Terran to hold on to. A lot of blink play and proxy structure play is very popular here because of the way that you can't scout everywhere very easily and very fast. So you can hide stuff more commonly than other maps.
We've even seen, I think it was MMA in the previous WCS season, opening up with actually just one Hellion, but then just running around absolutely everywhere to kind of spot out if there was going to be anything proxied around the map. And obviously Hellion's pretty fast, so it's kind of cool. Likewise, Reaper's kind of fast, so kind of cool. But
yeah, I'd expect Reaper from this game from YoDa, at least to start up the series, maybe adjust depending on the map vetoes and the maps that they play from here on out. And then the overall start just to have a very solid game from both players here. I wouldn't expect too much different unless we have some tricks planned.
First already moving out with his probe.
Yeah, probably just going to scout. Shouldn't be to proxy anything. You probably want to know if this is a Reaper or more so the follow-up, if it's going to be factory or barracks play. And because YoDa has been opening up quite a lot of command center first and one barracks command center builds, you also want to know if he's playing against that as well. Just an info. Scout.
Poking around. First's already started to create his wall off on this left-hand side here, so can complete that for the most part. A little bit of gap there, but Reapers don't really want to go through mineral lines for the fear of getting surrounded and stuff like that. But first, have a little bit of a look, see what's going on, sees the gas, knows what's happening.
YoDa did compete at the last Intel Masters stop in Toronto. Played 2 good games. I think it was 2 Zergs and a Protoss loss. Zest was the Protoss loss, 3-0. Which was a little bit expected there, unfortunately. And then he beat Leenock and Hyun. Played some very good games there. Not quite good enough to be able to topple Zest, who is, I was looking at this the other day, is the highest StarCraft 2 winner of 2014, so he's also considered the best player as well. So
I saw you mention that, and I thought to myself, but what about SOS? And then I looked at that, and it was like, he's like 10k behind us, so...
Yeah,
so
Zest is the best.
Zest is the best. And we'll be seeing him at BlizzCon later on. Looking forward to that because I've got high hopes for Zest when it comes to BlizzCon.
I'm sure he'll do very well there. So it is going to be a barracks follow-up here from YoDa. He's taken out a gas a little bit so he can add on his extra couple of barracks. There was that engineering bay block just to slow down the Protoss a little bit. Didn't slow him down too much as the Zealot was already made, which he wasn't too sure about at first. He's getting quite a bit of damage done to the Zealot. Always nice to get something done with the Reaper. It is considered very useless and now dead in this stage of the game.
Yeah.
That's actually a little bit bad here. This does give First, of course, the opportunity to potentially mix it up a little bit now because the Reaper's not there to scout what he's going to do.
Yeah, exactly. If there was anything going down in proxy locations, it's hard to actually spot those on the left and the right. That being said, though, I mean, he saw the timing of the Nexus. Anything coming down proxy-wise will be a little bit later. This probe, where were you going?
Take a fast third.
Yeah.
So the death of the Reaper is, well,
it's
okay, no,
this.
He was looking at the third. Is he going to take it? He was going over to it.
He's weighing up his options.
Decided to go over there. Just maybe, I mean, he hasn't really got that much intel of a follow-up in case he was checking if there was a factory or something down there, but...
There's another probe
no,
moving
he's
out
going to
for
do it.
Yeah.
He's going to go for a third. So this is cool. This is really good play.
Where's this one going, though? Is he going to actually proxy as well? That would be crazy.
I'm not too sure what this is about.
Well, Zealot poked at the front, saw the bunker, and can't really get much more info than that.
Yeah, probably just some later scouting probe. I guess we'll, not scouting probe, scouting pylon, but...
Yeah. Even this can just keep an eye on drops later on, which is not too bad.
I don't know if he could still throw down a structure here. He could still
sticking
throw
around,
down a Stargate. This is an incredibly greedy play here. But he knows what he's playing against, and that is one advantage or disadvantage, depending on who you look at, of knowing each other so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stargate it is going to be.
It's so funny because when that Reaper dies, you expect like one of the things maybe to happen, with be it the earlier third or a proxied structure or just something that, you know, takes advantage of the fact that that Reaper died. And First just says, why not both?
Yeah.
So
incredibly greedy play from First here. He just doesn't have any units out there. He's got no strong tech either, apart from the Stargate on this right-hand side, which isn't going to be used very much more so than that Oracle that we'll see.
That's true, because I mean, with the Stargate going down, you're putting a lot of your guess into that, and that delays the Robo going down. That delays any kind of other plans like the Twilight Council.
First, ideally, would have loved to throw the Robo down already to start thinking about his next set of tech, but he has to squeeze out a couple of gateways not to be too greedy, I would imagine here. You know, 2 gateways before additional tech, which is the Twilight Council, funny enough. Because he needs 3 gateways. If there was like a combat shield movement out or something, he'd be in trouble. He'd start to lose a lot. So smart for him to go 3 gateways and then the Twilight Council here. Twilight Council, not too sure what he's going to do with that yet. But this Oracle.
Well,
Marines in the mineral line.
in both, yeah.
So
YoDa's anticipated this really well, despite not having an engineering bay down really to kind of take advantage of upgrades and then into missile turrets. He's already positioned himself really nicely to be able to ward this off.
a lot of gateways we're going up to now. It's going to be a very powerful follow-up here, I'd imagine.
Nice. But this is in essence, if First actually wants to push with this kind of high gateway count, this is kind of what I was hoping something would happen along the lines of. I guess if he's just exploiting this third base with the power of minerals alone, it could hit really, really hard.
Oh, this is brutal. The setup that First is building against YoDa here. You know, you got the Oracles. I would imagine that First will play this out because of the gateway timing. Sit back, wait until the movements come out, which he has the 2 Stalkers to see, then go in with the Oracles.
He's going to go to both mineral lines.
Then get ready to catch the Bio Army with 8 gateways or however many with Blink Stalkers to kill off the economy and the army at the same time, leaving YoDa in the dust.
Yeah.
This is very cool play here from First.
It's nice. And look at this. First is still setting up pylons everywhere to spot any kind of drops hitting from the left, say, or the right-hand side. He has almost full coverage across the map, just in different locations.
This is brutal. 3rd command center as well. So the first Marine has been revealed. Now the army moves out. This is where the Oracles are going to move in, and behind this, First is getting ready.
Yeah, he sees it. And now this is prime opportunity to move into both mineral lines and kill off tons of workers.
This is a brilliant strategy here.
Oh, missile turret starts in the mineral line of the main base, but the Oracle gets in there and invades already. And he's killed off 8 workers with that poke.
Yeah, an Oracle should fly off and then, of course, bait out the army to go over to the side of the map as soon as the turrets are done. And that's when he's going to get ready with a lot of units. We're going to see a lot of Stalkers being added on now as Blink is about to finish.
And all the while, YoDa has just been completely unaware that the 3rd base was down behind this. The extent to which the gateways have been fully pushed through in this game.
It's a trap. It's a trap for YoDa. As soon as he moves over, he's going to get caught. This is going to be nasty.
Yeah, it's actually going to be disastrous.
He can chase as well because he's got Blink, of course. He can chase down these medivacs, can pick them off, can kill the army. And because it's 3 barracks instead of 5 here, he doesn't even have that large of an army. This is going to be nasty. And even if he didn't move over and lost everything, which is obviously First plan, because he's got so many probes off 3 Nexus, double forge, Robo now coming in, charge coming in. No worries, man. No problems.
YoDa now finds that hidden Stargate on the right-hand side, so we'll kill that off. But this has allowed him to spot the double drop play. So in the end, it's helping out First quite a lot, because behind this, he is absolutely flying. His army supply is rocketing up, his income is really strong, and he has spotted the 3rd base, which he shuts down in SCV.
Yeah, it's a combination of 2 things. It's a combination of losing the Reaper and a combination of knowing exactly how your Terran opponent's going to play. And this is beautiful. This is, in my opinion, a completely one-sided driven game by First here. YoDa's just getting smashed.
Definitely.
He doesn't even know it. That's the worst part.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, all because of the Reaper dying. If that Reaper had been there, spotting out a 3rd base, running around, or even just... It doesn't even have to spot things, it just has to threaten its presence there, right? As a Protoss player to say, wow, well, maybe I shouldn't take that risk. But YoDa First has achieved it really well.
Oh God, even he scans there and doesn't really see anything, unfortunately. Just, I mean, she's nothing. Sees an observer moving across and that's it. It's got no idea. Still playing this very patiently here. 1 Marine trying to get some information in the middle of the map. Some form of information. He's got no information at all. None.
Yeah. This is looking difficult, very difficult. 87 army supply against 60 right now. Normally it should be the Terran trying to outpace the Protoss in terms of army supply, but
YoDa's
Storm's on the way, +1/+'s about to finish.
Well, he just saw Zealots with charge, and now you got to be like, wait a minute, what? He's moving across the middle of the map. What? I mean, what am I even playing against? He's got 4 Vikings in production, which are not useful at all.
Dropped the scan, saw the army. And everything has been
You've got to start a Ghost Academy or something at this point, because you have to be figuring out with that many Zealots, this is not a normal game. This is not a Colossus-based game.
Right.
Why are you building Vikings?
1 Oracle's going to die, but he's killed 17 workers off with all of this. He's been at 69 workers against 56 for a while. He starts his 4th base. The Gateway Army, that isn't usually the linchpin of establishing extra bases for the Protoss here, because First has taken so many liberties, has worked out tremendously in this game.
Yeah, this is... YoDa's just still in the dark. He just... I mean, He's seen an army, kind of, but he doesn't know the infrastructure behind it, the gateway count, the nexus count, the supply. Doesn't really know that either. He's kind of playing blindly, adding on his second engineering bay and armory that's a little bit late in this game as well. Just look at the supplies. It's brutal.
Finds himself the Oracle and pushing at the front as well here. But there is Storm without any Ghost answer to it at all. That's a lot of high Templars in this army.
He's got to dance around, but no matter how good you can dance with your units, you're not really going to evade all this.
It's going to be very, very difficult. That's a lot of Zealots with a lot of power behind them. They do have +1 armor. That being said, +1 weapons is finished here for YoDa, so he is kind of equalizing that up. The Warp Prism has actually made its way into the main base as well, because the Vikings were lured out of position by this army that doesn't even have any Colossi in it, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's Warp Prism in the main, army on the thirds. Great game from first. Really, really good game. Solid, playing his opponent like a fiddle. Easy peasy.
Really, really well done. This army has no answer to it. Good Storm lands on a lot of this force, and he isn't even dealing with the Zealots enough to actually push this away. There you go, GG. The main base was being ravaged as well by those Zealots. Really well played.
No contest at all there for YoDa, just completely beaten up there by first. Great game. Very, very good game. Just as I mentioned, losing the Reaper, then knowing how your opponent's going to play, getting the vision on, not factory follow-up, so you don't need to worry about robotics facility. You got the third down, you got the oracles, you got this massive gateway force. Just a brilliant executed follow-up from the beginning opener there for first.
Very, very nice stuff. And if he can continue on that kind of form, then it will be nice. But Overgrowth is going to be our next map. It's going to be a little bit harder, I feel, for him to get away with plays like that. I don't think he could ever get away with as wild a play as we saw there from him on a map like this, because YoDa is going to be keeping his Reaper alive if he actually goes for one.
Yeah, I mean, whether he opens Reaper or not, I think he may now, because of the way this first game played out was very weird, very different, not very normal. I suppose that YoDa hasn't really played that many games like that one, that scenario in quite a while. Maybe he's played a couple of times, but not recently for sure. That's kind of a game you don't really run into very often. So he got completely beaten up there. He could go with the Reaper once again and try to feel out, keep it alive, know exactly what's going on. I mean, StarCraft's a game of information at the end of the day here, and he had none.
Yeah, first we have to give him complete credit for capitalizing on his opponent's lack of information. So let's get into game number 2 now, as first looks poised to move on to the winner's bracket final. But up to the top right-hand corner is the player that looks to stop him. Representing it is YoDa. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have our red Protoss Rare, also representing TCM, currently 1 game up. It is first.
And time for some revenge for first here, who has lost to YoDa the last couple of times they've played. And if he wins this, he's going up against Vortex in the winner bracket final, which is our next game, of course, where we'll have our first player to qualify, first player out of all regions to qualify for the Entire Extreme Masters San Jose, which will be played out on December the 6th and 7th. After the BlizzCon finals, which is coming up next.
Looking forward to it. I've never been over to... It's in California, right? San Jose? So.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Yeah, so I've never been over there before. So it'll be very nice. Although that being said, isn't Anaheim also over there? So anyway. So for now, let's see what First wants to actually do in this game. Again, I don't think he's going to be doing anything as wild as last game. But, I mean, even from the 10-minute mark onwards, he'd established such a strong lead in that game. It was going to be very difficult for YoDa to do anything. Yeah,
YoDa's definitely got to get his head on for this next one. Otherwise, it could easily be as one-sided as the previous game.
So First is once again setting himself up a little bit of a wall here and heading over with that probe to have a look around and get confirmation of basically what YoDa's up to. He will see that gas and no doubt read into the fact that there will be the Reaper on the way.
And YoDa going to send out an SCV too as well here. Usually want to be sending out an SCV with the Reaper opening. In cases like a 10 gateway, where you have like a Zealot, Mothership Core, Stalker, Chrono Boost. By the time the Reaper's over, then you can even start to react. You've already got your command center on the low ground. You're going to fall in a lot of trouble and fall behind. So it's good to add in this SCV scout to make sure that you know what you're playing against, where this Reaper opening can be good.
Definitely. And he'll head on in there and try and actually, no, he's not going to go straight in. He's just going to engineering bay block from the very word go. So this Zealot's not going to want to be cancelled. As First will no doubt send a probe down there, spot this pretty early. If he didn't, he would go punished quite hard.
Not really too much effect, though. The Zealot is being made anyway. You kind of want to get away with this with the Zealot isn't there, so you can delay the Nexus for as long as possible. But First knew there was an SCV movement out there, so he had the Zealot there being made. He moved down his probe a little bit earlier than expected. He, of course, could have always cancelled the Zealot too if there was not an engineering bay there, but he's on top of this. He's adding on a second gas. He will be delayed a little bit by his Nexus, of course, but he is making the correct responses to not slow himself down too much.
Doesn't see that piling up to the top left-hand corner. But if YoDa knows his teammate well, then he probably wouldn't anticipate the extra pylon actually being in such a location, just a spot for later on. And he's actually going to get 2 probes here if he's not careful.
Yeah, it's kind of why you don't use probes to help deal with the
yeah.
engineering bay block.
He was being quite greedy there and just waiting for as soon as the engineering bay has gone, then I can take the Nexus instantaneously. But that did cost him in the end.
Good start for YoDa. And he's kept that Reaper alive, more importantly.
Yes, so you can start spotting things out. Taking control of these watchtowers, seeing this small movement out in the middle is quite nice, but I don't suspect first we'll get too much done with this.
No, should get nothing done with this. Maybe an SCV kill in the main, but, you know, that's shouldn't really happen either.
Trying to push this Reaper away from the middle ground, and Stalker on the way as well for first, just to basically reinforce more than anything.
Yeah, YoDa's definitely the player thinking the most right now what his opponent's doing. YoDa, I mean, first can pretty much know what's going on, knowing the gas was pulled out earlier, but YoDa doesn't know what the follow-up's going to be here because that second gas in YoDa's vision was taken a very long time ago, before that Nexus was complete. So you've got to imagine that YoDa's thinking that this has been mined for a long time. I know it hasn't in this game, but it could be Stargate again.
Yeah.
It obviously could be Twilight Council, as we're seeing. Could be a fast robot. He's got no idea what this is, so he does need to start using that Reaper wherever he's gone.
Yeah, he definitely
in that
does.
bunker. He's got to get out of there, to be honest, and start trying to get in. He's not going to do that. Looks like he's keeping it behind here. So you either, at this point, as YoDa, don't scan and run risks, kind of saying, all right, I can deal with an Oracle. I can kind of deal with a gateway push. But if a DT comes in, then I'm dead because I haven't got an engineering bay turret or scan. So he is running a risk a little bit here, unfortunately. But it will pay off, as we can see what First is doing. It's only Blink.
Yeah, he was kind of covering the bases of the Stargate, again, with the Marines in the right spots in the mineral line, but Reaper's not going to get anything here. No. These units are way too well positioned.
Yep. Sees the gas on the natural, does not tell him much. It could have been Stargate still Robo, still Twilight. No idea. And he's just playing kind of safe overall. The only thing, like I said, he's cut out is the possibility of DTs.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that instantly kills him right now. Everything else he's equipped for.
That being said, though, I mean, First isn't exactly rushing out Blink. He hasn't really spent any chrono boosts on it just yet, so it's not like he's using this really in an aggressive stance. I think he's just going to be using it more for kind of defensive purposes.
Oh, Scan doesn't see anything there, really. Gets the edge of that gateway, but still could have been added on anyway.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, there's a lot of gateways coming in, so...
Yeah, there is a lot.
So First is going to be pretty aggressive. He's got a probe escaped on the other side of the map.
Yeah, he's throwing Chrono Boost into it now. It wasn't before, so I was kind of surprised, but there you go. Throwing it in now and getting so many gateways. So my initial thought was wrong, but at least now First shows us the way.
Yeah, and is YoDa going to be prepared for this? That's the question. He's got double bunkers, but there's not one inside the main base, so the units can blink in that main.
The gateways,
corner.
They're so spread out to the point where it's going to be difficult to even spot them with a full scan.
Yep, YoDa doesn't really know. He's just praying to God that he can get close to having his medivacs out and having a lot of units out, which is not that far away, only about a minute away now. But the units are already moving out, and maybe this Reaper's going to go in now and get the information, and then he can start to add on a third bunker, maybe a fourth bunker as well.
Yeah, there's only a Zealot to actually prevent this. All the other Stalkers moved down.
First of all, he's like, where's the army?
Yeah.
Then he's like, wait, that's 3 gateways. 4, 5, oh my god, what is this?
It's Panic Town.
And now it's time to add on additional bunkers.
Ooh, nice round from the probes to actually get that, but again, yeah, he has to hold on at the front. He does have Stim. Did that finish? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So all he has is Stalkers right now.
Yep.
To deal with that.
And the cancel on the pylon. He's going to just stop now, I think. He sees 2 bunkers. He didn't know there was a second bunker there until just now.
Templar Archive starts behind all of this.
So he's going to follow into Storm here straight away. So this cannot be broken here. I thought we'd maybe see a third bunker from YoDa, but I guess he's feeling okay with these 2.
Yeah. He had quite a few more orders in this mix. About 5, and if they're in bunkers and keeping healthy in there, then it should be fine. There's only 1 in there right now, but he could have swapped them out and make it even harder for these Stalkers to really do anything.
Advantage to YoDa, though. Very easily defended there without too much trouble.
Yeah.
And then third CC right behind this as well. The only thing that could come back and bite him is the lack of knowledge on the Templar Archives here, the follow-up. Because you kind of have to be like, okay, he's got a Twilight Cast, he's got Blink, it could be DTs, it could be, Templar Archives follow-up. He could have already gone for the robotics facility and started to get towards Colossus. He scouted the lack of third, which is important to note, and also a high zealot count, which kind of indicates more so that he's still on Twilight Council, although more so than Robotics Facility.
Yeah, just warping those in, keeping himself well sturdy. Drops down the scan, sees even more zealots being warped in, actually.
This is that scan was, can I defeat this army with what I have currently?
Catches a few of the Marines at the front, trying to buy some time, because that is quite a strong bioforce with those medevacs to help on out. But where did he drop that extra scan? Oh, he saw the Twilight count. Sorry, the Templar Archives.
Yep, and now he throws the Ghost Academy down without overcommitting there with his army. If he took a fight there, he could have walked into Storm. He could have got trapped up. There's a lot of gateway units there. There's no need to attack if he was map hacking, for example. You just take your third. You got a fast third. Get your production down. Get your upgrades going, because you're going to have a good advantage because of the way First played this out.
Yep, it's certainly been a lot slower here for First in game number 2, but overall, his army still packs a punch. Storm's about to finish out, and First is actually moving forward here with these 3 High Templars.
Yep, good catch.
And because he has Blink, he actually chases down a small portion of that bio army.
Yeah, while going double Forge and third Nexus behind it, so First is definitely getting back into this game. YoDa, though, has got to play defensive on 2 bases for now, though. He definitely could be broken on a third. It's a high amount of units.
YoDa's going to have to buckle down, because he just saw aggressive warpins from this left-hand side. This army is gearing up for some kind of frontal assault, and if those storms land well, this could be a
He's going to snipe
story.
the third Nexus at the same time, so this is kind of cool if he can make the defense and the drop at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. Down to the bottom right-hand corner. This Orbital Command's actually trying to get into position to defend, but that's a good storm to start things off. Killed a few SCVs. But I don't.
No, he's going to kill the third
going.
Nexus for sure.
Yeah, it's
and all that YoDa has to do here is sit back and defend on 2 bases. Obviously, don't lose the Nexus. I think YoDa's fine here.
Yeah,
this is a really good pick-off of the third Nexus, by the way. Really cool.
Yeah, separating up and dividing and conquering these locations is really strong. And he's even going to lose a few High Templars on the way out.
He loses 2 out of 3. And there's actually no storms there.
So difficult to really kind of hold on. Might even, no extra pursuit, so he didn't have to throw any more force fields.
Really good crisis management from YoDa. He can go take his third now. He can get 2/2 upgrades down. Very, very well played there.
Even mixed in a Widowmine there for good measure, as he thought it was going to push. But so yeah, he's really kind of just using every tool available to him to thwart anything that First wants to do, because both attempts at aggression have been completely shut down by YoDa.
Yeah, First is going to feel comfortable when his third base economy is online, or if he starts to make a Colossus switch, but that's obviously both of those are quite a way away, which means YoDa with the Widowmine, Marine Marauder composition, Ghost being added in, is in a great position here. Very good game from YoDa, very impressed here.
He cut SCV production for a little while, but now with his third base down, going to start that up again. It is 56 probes to the 47, but I mean, with the third base already now mining away, once he transfers something over there, he'll be flying.
Yeah, this is another bit of annoying poke here, just to pile on anything you can get here. And if this army's clumped up, nice use of the War Prism, by the way. He's got the War Prism with a High Templar in it. That's going to be actually very good against this. Yeah. If, of course, they can unload and land the right storms.
Lands a little bit of a storm, but only kind of tickles away at about 4 or 5 of those units. And this force of Protoss is actually taking a lot of free damage whilst it was just running around, not doing a whole lot.
Mines on the left.
Has to run back. Catching a few of those Stalkers as well. The Ghosts have died off, so storms can come into play. Did hit 1 pretty nicely, but there's not enough Zealots to complement this in the end.
There is more storms, though. So...
Okay, reinforcing.
Still got 2 left.
Still holding on, still trying to hope against this, but still needs a bit more of a meat shield. And again, those Widow Mines do cause a bit of problem. He brings the Observer forwards and does see them, so will kill those off, but splitting up some of the Zealots at the front really didn't help him out at all. He has to be careful with that War Prism as well. It almost died. Nice drop of the Storm. He's broken down a lot of this bio army. It's not quite as healthy as it used to be, but there's just too much. There's too much of an arc, too much damage.
Yeah, brilliant game from YoDa. Fantastic fight as well here, in and out of those storms. And he's going to wear First down on just 2 bases, not enough gateways. Well done. Very, very good game here from YoDa.
Yeah, First tries to hold on, but in the end, with only these gateway units and the storms not really hitting the full mark, and YoDa just constantly powering on. I mean, look at the reinforcements. It's not so much a huge stream, but there is a trickle just constantly rallied over here to punish this third base, take that down.
That's the victory. The third Nexus gone. You don't need to continue attacking here. If you don't want to, you can fall back and just rebuild up, take 3-3. But with 2 upgrades now completed, still a lot of units left. It is over. Well played by YoDa. Very good game. Very, very good game. Both players showing good games from either side here, Game 1 and Game 2. On their respective sides and wins.
And that's kind of what we expected from this series, right? YoDa to go level pegging with First into the later stages of the game and then kind of overpower his opponent, because that's what we've seen from YoDa and First in the past in their series. So first game was tricky, as such, First was able to take that victory, I think he needs to go back down the tricky route.
Well, the only trick I think that will work here is Dark Templar opening. Obviously, game one, had things that YoDa made mistakes, which First took advantage of. But the only weakness right now that YoDa has in his opener is DTs, for sure.
Yeah.
He's not covering himself on Dark Templar. If that was to be used here, it'd almost be an instant win, I would feel. Maybe that can be used in this game. I'm not sure if First, because they're jumping into these games so fast, is actually analyzing his opponent to realize that is the one weakness that YoDa has currently with his opener. But I guess we'll see. Maybe there's something so small like a Reaper kill that changes the way that First plays anyway.
Well, we'll find out in just a second. That third map is going to be merry-go-round, so there is opportunity for shenanigans, but at the same time, third base hard to take, etc. Let's get into it as we have 1-1 in this series. One of these players will advance on to play against Vortex for that first spot at the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, as we have, spawning up to the top right-hand corner, it's our blue Terran. It is TCM YoDa. And up to the top left, it's our red Protoss. It is TCM First.
So typically on merry-go-round, this is a very good SCV pull type of map, just because the distances between the bases aren't that far away from each other. So the SCV pull comes really fast if well executed. It's very common for sure. So if First was to play a more traditional Colossus opening, which we haven't seen yet today, that could be something which YoDa could do. I think back to King Sejong Station, and YoDa built 2 starports in that game blindly, and they had double reactors on it, so his Viking count was rapidly increasing. So I feel that could have been definitely one of his plans for this series. But I guess we'll see. It's almost going to have to be a Reaper opening again here. It's obviously not a good map again for One Barracks Command Center or Command Center First.
And it's an interesting point that you actually bring up with the 2 Stargates, in essence, blindly with reactors, etc. Because from what we've seen from First these past 2 games, he's been really favoring the Twilight route and the Templar Archive route. So YoDa's going to have to be on top of information to end up assessing this and then maybe going down the Ghost Academy route again a little bit quicker.
Yeah, or 5 barracks with Winter Mine is also very good against
True.
Twilight Council Templar play.
Yeah.
Early scout here from First, who's taken double gases, by the way, very early on. Is going to run into being scouted, I suppose you can say. So it's not like he can do something that isn't going to be kind of expected.
And First has a look around as well, sees the exact same setup as the past 2 games, so knows what's going to be occurring. May even see YoDa poke up and then come straight back down for an engineering bay. But after seeing the second gas, if he, pokes around even further, he's got to be a little bit wary. Oh,
he doesn't see much, though.
No, he didn't go fully.
And he's gone back for the engineering bay, and First is going to realize that's more than likely going to happen here. But with First already going for double gases, maybe First is playing into that YoDa likes this engineering base. He's like, okay, well, that's fine. I can actually just tech off one base here and try something against you. As he's going to see that engineering bay, what is his reaction to this?
It's actually a really astute point that you make, because they're going into these games so fast, there's not a whole lot he can analyze, or both players can analyze from their opponent's base setups. All he can analyze is off the scouting pattern and what he's been doing, that he's been actually visibly observing in the game. So this is one of them, and if he looks to capitalize on it, it's very, very clever by First. Oh, well, Reaper gets everything though.
And Mothership Core out, so Reaper has to back off here, but that engineering base at 80%. Right now, if I'm YoDa, I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of successful with my opening, right? But at the same time, you've got to be very careful what the follow-up here is going to be.
Yeah, and the engineering bay is already, well, sorry, never mind. Why did I look at the production tab? I was like, yeah, the engineering bay. I'm like, wait a minute. Forgotten about one engineering bay. But it is going to be Stargate. So, oh, he cancels. And throws it. Ah, the probe is stuck.
So this is what you've got to be careful about. But in every game so far, he has showed that he could have good defense against an Oracle if it came in at a normal time. Game 1 was different because it was a different time and when he moved out. Game 2, he was ready for an Oracle. And Game 3, I expect that he would be ready as well. He's looking to see if the Oracle, Stargate is somewhere up north with the Reaper.
But you're completely right. I mean, the 3 barracks opener for YoDa, it provides him so many Marines that he can place them around 5 or 6 in each mineral line, and then he should be fine against this.
Yeah. Oop. But this is weird. So Stargate straight to Forge here. He could be going for like a 2-base all-in with a couple of upgrades off the back of this Oracle. Starting his Forge that early here. But yeah, we'll see where this develops to. YoDa's going to have a poke around here with the Reaper, and he might be able to get in the main base. It's not a second Stalker or unit out. Nope, never mind.
Just looks to get confirmation of the natural. Runs back away as YoDa is buckled down at the front, and he's got, again, just plenty of Marines on the way for any time across these 3 barracks. So the Oracle should be shooed away.
Yeah, with such a fast forward here, I'm definitely feeling some form of 2-base attack afterwards. Like a huge gateway attack, maybe. I don't know. It's starting the forge that early is not as common. You'd rather like to get the robotics facility out a little bit faster than that.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Could be like an immortal push or something with 1/1 upgrades.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Oracle, you know, it's going to be deflected already. YoDa now sees it's an Oracle. No problem. Marines in the right position. As mentioned before, he wasn't really weak against an Oracle opening. He's weak against DTs. Imagine if DTs hit him, you know, around 7:30 now. He's dead. There's no energy, no turret, nothing.
Yeah, very difficult for First to really find any angles there. YoDa covers himself so well against that. With the factory on the way, he's propelling himself forwards in this game really nicely. 33 workers against 36, but Protoss did have the Chrono Boost into these Nexi or Nexus.
Yeah, which doesn't leave a lot of Chrono Boost left over for Immortals, so he's going to have to tech after this, and that's a beautiful scan actually on top of the tech that was about to be placed.
Yeah,
and
very
nice.
nicely
It gets
done.
placed slightly further up here. There's the robotics bay.
But as always, when you open up like this with the Stargate and then the armor, etc., the Robo in the Robo Bay is a little bit delayed. So it's not as easy really to hold off against anything at the front. But at the same time, YoDa's not really propelling himself too fast down that avenue. So, but if he did poke, how much is there really to deal with it? Not a lot, just a photon overcharge and a few units.
Well, the Reaper having a look around for a third.
Missile turrets.
Yeah, missile turrets so he can move out safely with his Bioforce. Engineering Bay is very late. It's something like, I keep saying it, like he's so weak against DTs. Engineering Bay is very late, so his +1 attack will not come into play at all for his first push out, unless he waits for a very long time. But he should be moving out, of course, with his first 2 medivacs.
If you had to play YoDa, would you go DT, Sean?
Yes, I'd win.
You would win.
Yep.
Sick. Sean beats YoDa. Yep. I'm okay with this.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is delayed. The +1 weapons will technically go up against just +1 armor once it's gone long, unless there was massive Chrono Boost into the +1 weapons here from first. So technically they wouldn't match up, but in the end, still there is a lot of power behind YoDa's army because he has been completely unthwarted in his attempts to keep macroing. Ooh, sees this movement out.
It's going to start blink anyway here, but he's got to tuck tight now on 2 bases. Oh, he starts charge actually. He's going to switch into Temple Archives.
Oh, wow.
After 1 Colossus. Okay. All right.
It's just going to hold the fort back at home. Add on like Mortals as well.
Yeah, switching up his whole composition here.
Uh-oh. He's picked up. He's going to go into the main. There are pylons to spot this, but...
There's no units. That's not good.
Well...
Now there's units, but it's 3 Zealots.
The thing is he picked up the medevacs that were revelated, so he saw that as it was coming along. But it's still a lot of power because he was, again, he went uncontested in the early stages. It's just going to walk into the natural. Okay, well, Photon Overcharge will hold on for that.
Yeah, he's losing so much in the main, though. He's lost all his units.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Wait, did he lose the Colossus as well and I just didn't see it? Oh, okay. I wonder where it had gone. But
he manages to clean that up. Holds on for now, but loses a lot there, unfortunately. I mean, First is playing a lot of things right now. He's chosen everything. Like, all 3 tech choices that you can choose. He's chosen all of it really fast, which basically left him with very few units. And he got punished a little bit there because I'm not sure if YoDa really clicked on to why he was so successful with that.
But this, in the end, has been basically forced out of first because he's on a map like merry-go-round, right? It's very difficult to really get that third down without full knowledge of what your opponent's doing, as well as being able to hold on with additional techs.
And YoDa hasn't really clicked on to why he had few units here. He's actually just saying, okay, well, this Oracle did nothing, and he must have slowed him down quite a bit here, as you can see. He's only had 1 Colossus out, but I'm sure he's getting back up to normal now. And, you know, he's adding on his Viking production, which isn't needed in this game. And he still does not know about this Templar Archives, which can obviously turn around and really hurt. Really hurt if you don't have the right units here.
Yeah, first actually gearing up with a Warp Prism, so maybe using that to buy time, or even if he was just to load his High Templars into that later on, would be nice. But overall, YoDa right now is so well set up. He's taking his third base. I mean, how can First really punish that when the army counts are as they are? It's 71 to 59. Storm has to hit really nicely if he wants to do anything.
I think it can. I think it can. Storm is very good. Still doesn't really get full knowledge of what's going on. He's adding on that second starport here, YoDa. He does not know. And again, his lack of information starting to hurt him. More and more Templar being... And, you know, Terran, if they've got the right units, they can fight any army. Pretty much. It is difficult, obviously, the longer the game goes, but they can fight any army. And right now, he's just not ready.
Ah, this is so good by YoDa as well. The preparation involved in just leaving your Vikings in the third base, waiting for some kind of harassment to come along. I mean, yeah, of course he's rallying forwards, and eventually they will help out against a push, but strong preparation against Warp Prism.
And now he knows about the Templars. He knows about the Templars through the scan in the main base.
Oh, he saw them over here. Okay.
Oh, I saw the one. Yeah, I saw that one there.
But the army's just moving out straight into the middle. This is a strong army.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull those units from the main base here. He's got to be very careful. There's a lot of units in the middle. And he must not miss his storms.
Good double-pronged harass here, though, coming from First with the Zealots.
If he can defend and do this double attack to the third and main.
Yeah. Ooh, almost loses the Warp Prism. He just barely doesn't die. But he could get the cancellation on the third, which is nice.
Yeah, he will.
He's got a lot of worker kills, though. 12 have already died off, and he's denying a lot of mining time.
Oh, these storms. Ooh, he's got to hit them.
Yeah.
He's not going to hit them.
No.
Time to go home.
Way too far out of position there.
I thought maybe he could catch him off guard while this attack was going on the other side, but...
Oh, even lands the Vikings to try and push all of this back.
Still got storms.
Strong concave here, though. There aren't enough Zealots really to tank up against this. There's one of the storms. First one landing right on the right-hand side. Left one not really killing off as much as he wants to, and he gets into the soft innards of this army.
Yeah, that's not good. See, I mean, the Zealots have killed off a lot of workers, for sure. 24 workers, but... he needs to pull these units faster from the main base. It would have helped out so much more. Yeah,
a lot of Zealots now have to be poked at the front. That's a good chunk of Zealots, but with the kiting possibilities, he's actually not reinforcing that fast, so a storm could actually hurt a lot. Good feedbacks there will slow all of... oh, and as well as the time warp, so he's going to have to evacuate. For a second.
Yeah,
just peeks out and gets up.
As good as his defense is from First, he needs that third Nexus. He really does need it. It's going to be 2-2 for the bio. He can take his third again shortly.
Got to keep dancing. Got to keep dancing. There's reinforcements on the way. The Zealots still trying to do something in the main base. Kill off some SCVs where they can. He keeps the Warp Prism alive.
The Warp Prism is very important.
Yeah, he wasn't dancing with the front of those units because he was prioritizing his main base defense, or at least SCV evacuation.
Don't go too far out.
He's losing so many Zealots to this.
Yeah. He can keep replenishing the Zealots as long as the Archon Immortal count rises behind it. But he's got to keep the pressure up in the main base, otherwise he will fall behind.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Unfortunately for First, he hasn't really found a lot of time to warp in High Templars to then keep them as High Templars to eventually gather Storms, because that's going to be dead weight whilst the Storm is recharging. So having to warp in all of these units into the fight straight is really unfortunately hurting him.
Yeah, time to pull back. Time to pull back. Too slow in the pullback.
Oh, those Archons evaporate. And then from there on out, these Immortals aren't going to do a whole lot. One Zealot somehow still finds its way through this army. And he will be able to shut this down in the end.
But he lost 2 Archons and 3 Immortals there. They're very important because he's cleaned up his main and natural, and he can start to take his third again, and he lost those very important units there. Oh dear, still 2 High Temple. Oh, this could be a...
Ooh. Okay, whoa, 6 Storms.
Yeah. The Warp Prism's been the hero in this game.
He's killed so many workers, 42 workers. So yeah, you're right. I mean, the Warp Prism has worked wonders. I thought he was maybe going to leave those Vikings around at the third for a little while longer, and if he had done, maybe that would have helped. But unfortunately, no, that wasn't the case. It lined up with the push out here from YoDa.
Of course, this +3 armor is doing wonders for this Zealot Archon style army.
And another drop has been spotted heading down to the third base here. So First, he's keeping himself alive in this, and he's crippled a lot of the economy here from YoDa, but Mules have done crazier things in the past.
The switch into Colossus now is very needed and very smart. That's going to be very difficult because YoDa can build units, but he can't build a lot of everything. He can't, you know, build Bio, Marine, or Marauder, Marine, Mine, and Vikings, and Ghost, because he doesn't have that much money. So he's got to kind of choose one way or the other. So it's nice that First, using his third Nexus, is able to build a bit of everything here. It's going to make it more difficult, of course, for YoDa to compete, because he needs Ghosts and Vikings versus this.
Yeah.
And it's also very difficult to afford that.
It's also been nice that First has kept his Oracle alive, actually, during this whole game. He's used Revelation a lot to keep tabs on where his opponent's been moving around. Also, the Warp Prism down to the right-hand side is tried to look for extra little bits of room, but the Revelation has allowed him to move the Warp Prism and evacuate it out of a position where his opponent's army was moving. So all of these things work in tandem to really make a very strong position for first.
Yeah, if only he threw down a second robotics facility, I think he could afford it now.
Well, that'd be nice.
So just so we can kind of pump out 2 at a time, because the war is going to be won with the Colossus more so now, because there is only 1 Viking. There's a lot more Ghosts. Information for first is a little bit limited here, and he doesn't want to run too short on having an army size, so I do understand why he hasn't thrown down the second robotics facility. His pumping out 1 at a time is decent.
And that 1 Viking was keeping an eye out for the Warp Prism, so he needs to unload pretty fast. Actually, he's going to get away from there. So looking for Storms. Storms a Marauder, and then a few SCPs. The Marauder Storm, actually with the Zealot, will clean up a few of those units, and it's even pulling back because this third's being hit by even more Zealots.
Yeah. Love the high Stalker production too. Loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Because the Stalkers are going to be able to obviously pick off any Vikings here to leave the Colossus to reign supreme over this army, which they definitely should do. And what does he have in terms of force fields?
I mean, overall, this army composition is just looking not that great for YoDa, right? It's going to be difficult if a proper straight engagement comes up.
Caught out of position, though.
Yeah, left his third exposed.
Yeah, left his third flank exposed. No observer or anything down there, pylon or anything.
Well, the Ghosts at the front, though, get completely destroyed. That leaves the High Templars to do the business. They've got a lot of energy here for Storms. This army cannot stay here for YoDa.
Yeah, it's not about force fields. It's about having a bunch of Zealots at the front of your army to keep the Colossus from nowhere near being touched, because when you don't have Vikings, you've got to charge the Colossus, obviously, otherwise you can't fight them. And
despite that flank being weak and kind of vulnerable, he was still able to kind of recover pretty fast there. So that was good by first to react in the time he did.
Yeah, and now four Colossus now, though.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to go, compete against. Even the blink forwards to catch some of these medevacs. And YoDa can't really protect them as well as he would like to, aside from boost, because the Colossi are there to just threaten every time.
Yeah, and this looks like First is going to go for it now with 4 Colossus lead over 0 Vikings.
He has
Honestly,
a lot of power.
This is a win-win situation.
A lot of power. That being said, not many Zealots, but there you go. The Storms rain down. GG. First takes the series 2-1 and advances on to play against Vortex for the spot at San Jose.
Yeah, that's right. And he gets a bit of revenge there on YoDa, who has beaten him the last couple of times they've played, but that sets us up for our winner bracket final. As you said, Vortex versus First to decide which player will represent Europe to play and compete in the Intel Masters San Jose at the start of December. One of them guaranteed a position here. Is it going to be the European or European Korean?
We'll find out in just a little bit. So join us after the break, guys, here for the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose qualifiers, where we find out one player going to San Jose.